He is without doubt the most exciting recruit in the AFL. Nathan Buckley, a physiotherapy aide with former Richmond star Barry Richardson. Collingwood hopes he'll be the miracle cure they've been looking for.
My form has gradually improved over the pre-season. Usually I would have played an extra 6 or 7 games in Darwin over Christmas, so the match fitness has taken a while longer to get.
Buckley is one of the coolest players in the business. But just like any Magpie, Saturday's first game at Victoria Park will be special.
It'll definitely be an experience I'm looking forward to.
Both Buckley and Brown are in for the thrill of a lifetime on Saturday. I know it's been a long time since I ran out here at Collingwood, but the memory is still one of my greatest. Lou Richards, National 9 News.
Well, one former champ just doing a story there on the future champ, Nathan Buckley, and Lou Richards straight out of the Matthew Lloyd handbook there and turning it into something about himself. More than what it was the actual subject matter. Who joins us now live? Nathan Buckley, good morning.
G'day, TJ.
Thanks very much for joining us. Now, Nathan, you've come loaded with some questions for Nathan. Would you like to kick us off?
No. We had a chat during the break. We won't bring that up. But good to have you on, Bucks, of course.
Ask him. Go on.
No, I'm not going to ask him that.
Nathan wanted to know if you've turned into a Buddhist and you're practising Buddhism.
He put that on the Juddy, though, didn't he?
Well, Juddy swears that, Bucks, that you're a really happy sort of character these days and you've got a lot of zen about you.
Well, that's a good thing to have, I presume. But, I never... I hadn't laughed once until 2 years ago. And I haven't been upset since, so maybe there's something in it.
All right, let's talk some serious footy now. First of all, you must have been rapt when Gill confirmed the June 11 restart. Are you confident that it will be your blokes up against Richmond?
No, not confident at all. I've heard a lot about a lot over the last sort of 6, 7 or 8 weeks, and what's true today may not be true tomorrow. The changing environment, but if that is to be, we will get started at some point, and if June 11's the date that things kick off and we're a part of it, we wouldn't say no.
Bucks, I know you spoke about this about 3 or 4 weeks ago, but there's nothing we can do about the date because we need to get the season going. But you're concerned for your players and the injury crisis there could be early in the season. Just want your thoughts on that. Yeah,
look, I think that you're not going to have a perfect fit. You're not going to be able to have everything ideally, prepared from a time perspective and even from a staffing perspective, given the situation that we're in. So every club is going to have to work to their own restraints and constraints to their best fit. And, I mean, the Perth and the South Australia, Perth and Adelaide clubs have got different issues to the other 14 clubs in the competition. But yeah, for us, we feel like a 4-week preparation is going to be okay with us. A level B week next week, and then 3 level C weeks at this point, leading into that June 11 weekend. And we think we'll be able to get our players up and about well enough.
Nathan, you've obviously got your own situation with which to deal with at Collingwood. You referenced there the 4 teams that need to head to the South East Queensland hub. Is it possible that part of you actually feels for the scenario that they're now faced with?
Well, there's no doubt that there are going to be some challenges for those teams, very different to the other 14, as we've mentioned. And there will, I've got no doubt the AFL will in some way try to mitigate the disadvantages that they may face. But if you're in those camps, you're actually looking for the advantages as well. And to maybe to get away for that 4-week period, if in fact it is a 4-week period, that their group is together, that they can really focus on those first 4 weeks as a group, as a collective, intend to really start their seasons off or continue their seasons off as strongly as they possibly can. There may be some advantages, and I know that if I was in Adam Simpson or Justin Longmuir's position, you'd be trying to find the advantages and you'd be selling that to the group. And really, I think every club will have a slightly different scenario to face.
Bucks, the players that aren't selected in your 22 for the AFL game, how will you keep them fit with no games?
Well, they'll be on the same training programs during the week. One of the concerns, and it's not just a physical or a match fitness concern, Kane, but it's probably as much their mental and emotional well-being. they will want to compete and they'll want to play football and they'll want to be able to put their hands up for selection. So it sounds like there's a little bit of a groundswell towards the back end of lists being able to play against one another. So say we played Geelong in a couple of weeks' time, or in late June, that we would have a scratch match with our in lieu of a VFL game with the Geelong list. So it makes a lot of sense to me, given that we're under the same medical protocols as the senior side would be. So it would go a long way to maintaining the motivation of the depth of the list throughout the season.
Bucks, you're rotating small forwards or medium-sized forwards in 2018, probably the most dangerous in the competition. Then last year, a few injuries, a little bit down on form, but it's a small sample size round one. But I thought those guys like Elliott back in, Hoskin Elliott was good, DeGoey, Myercheck, they looked really sharp in round one.
Yeah, we were really happy with the way we performed in round one. Seems like it was last year, but it was a very different environment, but we handled it well. And if that's a template for the way that we go about our football, it's a pretty good one to start with. So when we get back into training tomorrow and in the small groups and then proceed on the 25th into some match practice type work, then we hope to be seeing that same sort of chemistry in our offence and with the dynamic looks, I suppose, that we show in front of the ball and being able to really challenge defences.
Communication very important, Bucks, with your players. How many Zoom meetings do you have daily?
Well, this is number 3, and the number 3rd online meeting today. There's a fair bit happened. There was a 50-odd page document that came through from the AFL on Friday night. So there's still a little bit of stuff to work through in regards to what the environment looks like, what the expectations are of our people, our players, and our staff. And there has been a lot of work that's been done that sort of gets thrown in the trash a couple of days later. So I mean, you remember back when we were talking about the hub situation, 18 clubs relocating or 10 clubs relocating to Queensland or 8 to WA. I mean that filled a lot of space and a lot of what ifs. So there has been a fair bit of contact, and it's been part of it.
No, we've got a photo of you here online to your players, just in bed there with your boxer shorts on. Not sure if you can see it on the telly.
I'm not sure you want to see it, Bucks.
No, I've shut that image out of my mind, mate. So I don't know what you're talking about.
All righty, now before we let you go, we do have rapid fire questions here. So there's 5 questions, rapid fired answers. Bucks, kicking off, Damo.
Nathan, I'm assuming you've done what all of us have done, and that's eat a whole lot more and drink a whole lot more over this ISO period. The Wolf Blass Bucks blend. What is it? Cab Sav, Merlot, Frank, Malbec?
Yeah, it's a few of those, mate. But yeah, it's had a bit of a run, Damo. It's a limited edition though, so. If you want a bottle, I'll send one across, mate.
Okay, I'll take you up on it. Yeah, thanks.
I'm next, Bucks. The player you've been keeping the closest eye on in ISO?
Mason Cox, actually, not through choice, but he's been prolific on social media, so I've seen a bit of him.
What's the best individual performance you've ever seen?
Probably G. Ablett in the '89 grand final. He was pretty good that day.
Ablett Brownless kicked 11 between them. Hey, Bucks, what's black, white?
Great duo.
Great duo, exactly.
Yeah.
What's black, white and red all over?
No, you tell me, mate.
Eddie. There he is. He's black and white, and then his head goes red.
I think we're showing subdued Eddie there.
Yeah, well, they got beaten.
I got the last one, Bucks.
More purple, isn't it?
We're about to look at our greatest ever dummy spits, the biggest dummy spit you've seen.
I was actually asked this before I came on. Jeremy Howe from a couple of years ago when Joe Danaher was given the mark of the year.
Very good.
very justified though, because Howie told me later that he'd actually had to sign 100 copies of Mark of the Year posters or something that day. So you'd pretty well expect that your name's going to get read out.
Hey, Bucks, we really appreciate
well
your time this morning, and be good to see you out on the track there, albeit in a condensed sort of a training session. And then, of course, June 11, hopefully you guys kick it off. Whoever kicks it off, it'll just be great to see footy back. So thanks for your time this morning.
Thanks, guys.
See you, Buddha.
Nathan Buckley joining us there live from Billy. There was just no need for that.
Come on,
no,
Bill.
don't you act all innocent.
No, don't.
You started there, right? You're grind my gears sometimes.